man. All right. So where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Michigan and Jim Harbaugh and all of a sudden self-imposed suspension being 3 games as opposed to the 4 that was originally suggested?
Yeah, what was going on there, Spencer?
What was going on here is this. Don't talk to the NCAA. Don't cooperate. Don't talk. Don't acknowledge them. This is one of the biggest programs in the nation, and it's absolutely humiliating that they even cooperated with this crap because it is about cheeseburgers. That's literally what this is about. You'll see this. You'll know it's about cheeseburgers and about Jim Harbaugh allegedly using a company credit card to purchase said cheeseburgers when they say this is not about the cheeseburgers. Lies. Imagine being an adult. Imagine being an adult and working for the NCAA, and somebody says, it's extremely important that you got to go find out that Jim Harbaugh used this credit card to go buy some cheeseburgers for a couple of recruits and not dying of shame. That's what this is about. So now they're caught this back and forth where they have to make the NCAA look like they're legitimate, and they have to own up in order to go ahead and put off any possible sort of punishment that they signed up for by cooperating in the first place. You know who you won't see doing this? You won't see Ohio State doing this. You won't catch USC doing this. You sure as hell won't catch the U doing this, especially because they have problems of their own right now.
Didn't Ohio State do this with tattoos, though?
Foolishly, yes. And they lost a coach because of it. But here's the trick at Ohio State. They don't need it. They don't need a coach to be good. They're going to be 10 wins, 9 wins, no matter who's coaching that thing. That's not the case at Michigan, and we found that out. So in order to placate everybody and keep Harbaugh on board and keep him from interviewing for what NFL jobs are going to be open, just pick one of them. He'll interview for it. It won't go well, and then he will go ahead and come back to Michigan without his tail between his legs because he has no shame about these things.
We should mention Spencer Hall, host Meadowlarks Shut Down Full Cast, and I think we already mentioned that Jess was in Ireland where Notre Dame kicks off the season against Navy. Jess, what are you most excited about?
Well, to be honest, I usually am very excited for week 0, which is what we call the weekend before all of the college football games start, where there used to be like 1 or 2 teams would play here and there. And now it seems like every year more and more teams are playing in week 0. And that's the weekend that the Aer Lingus Classic is, which is here in Ireland, which is basically like a bowl game that's part of the season where 2 teams come to Ireland and play. It's not even an exhibition. It's an actual season game kind of before the season starts. But then Notre Dame is playing in it this year. And I kind of realized I like week 0, but I don't like when my team plays in week 0. It's kind of like a week 0 for thee, but not for me situation, because I would have loved the extra week of practice for Sam Hartman, who is the transfer from Wake Forest that's starting at Notre Dame this season. And instead, you get a big old road trip across the pond to Ireland. So I am excited for football to start, but I'm also already kind of hitting my nervous energy situation like a little bit earlier than usual right now. So yeah, some of my worst habits are coming back, Izzy.
Because it's not week 0 for you. It's week 1 for you. Everybody who's playing, it's week 1. It's week 0 for everybody else.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And
I'm excited for it.
She
but
hates Navy.
I don't like Navy. I do think scheduling wise, playing Navy the first week is always the best situation for any team because you get a whole off season and all of camp to practice defending against the triple option, which is something that Notre Dame has to see every year. And when you see it later in the season, it's a lot more difficult than when you actually get time for it at the beginning of the season, and has probably historically boded better for the Irish. They're 10 of 11 of the last games against Navy they've won. So hopefully, I'm very biased here, but this year will be the same.
I've got a couple.
Hope you pull that one out. Hope you pull it out again.
Yeah, look.
You should be nervous.
It was nerve-wracking last year. Notre Dame almost gave up a massive lead to Navy in the second half, but that's why these games are so stressful for me, Spencer, because it is Notre Dame. Sometimes they let you down spectacularly.
So this is, again, by the way, I want to just be clear. You went overseas to go beat up on overmatched competition with superior firepower on your side. You just took the Navy's job. That's what you did.
Spencer, I have to give you credit because you clearly don't care what your background is when you do these things, and you have such a mess back there. Could you help us figure that out?
Right there. That's the video game queued up in the background.
Okay.
I paused it to talk to you guys.
And is that a cat inside of some sort of jar that says ham?
Yeah, that's a cat wrapped inside a gigantic blanket of ham.
Okay, and you put that there.
That's Ham Cat by local
purpose.
artist R. Land.
Okay. And then on the right side of you, just random boxes and shelves.
We're moving in. Yeah,
Okay.
this is we've
You
been
moved
moving in
like
for
over a year ago.
That is correct. Over a year ago.
Spencer is my co-host on DNF, so trying to do like little Easter eggs with whatever is in the background of his Zoom is also one of my favorite games.
Is that a Coca-Cola and a Coke Zero?
No, let's see. We have that is a
50-50
bubble
situation.
water. There's like a carbonated, a bubbly, and a Coke Zero, along with a Duke's Mayo Bowl helmet and a Dale Earnhardt cooler. So I have a Dale Earnhardt mini cooler back there as well.
You're just missing the Czech soda there for like Southern bingo.
I think Lucy's going to offer to buy a few of those items from you.
Spencer, it seemed as though a couple of years ago, I know Miami and Florida played for a week 0 matchup that did big time ratings, and it felt like, wow, the NCAA and its big media partners found a new golden goose where they can extract yet more money from. And since then, the matchups have been pretty uninspiring. No offense, Jess, but why isn't there the one big marquee power program against other big marquee power program week 0 thing become a thing?
Probably because coaches, I think, are most concerned, and administrators are most concerned about the existing, workload of games for players. They would rather backload it. They want to go ahead and make sure that if you're in the playoffs, you haven't been playing for, X number of weeks before you go ahead and get into that. Additionally, and this doesn't sound like a lot, but for a coach, it would be a lot if you're trying to plan out the season. That's an additional week that you don't have to prepare. Right. And almost every single team will go ahead and take that. If you see these week 0 games, Notre Dame aside, you're not going to, and USC aside, USC, by the way, is playing in week 0. They're playing San Jose State. That's who they're playing. USC did not schedule a Titan for the week 0 matchup. They don't do that because programs that usually scheduled in week 0, it's an attention grabber, and it's for programs that need the attention, and it's for programs that don't really have some of the logistical challenges that, say, a behemoth like Alabama might. So that's why you haven't seen the week 0 thing. We get very messed up on scheduling and how people schedule things, and we don't really understand the incentives. Remember, Nick Saban hates playing in the playoff because it interferes with recruiting. That's it. So when you see him sitting there holding a trophy, he's just waiting until he can get back on his phone.
Spencer, I love to get angry about lists, and with the preseason pullout, ooh, I'm fuming. I'm ready for it. When you look at the top,
You sound pissed.
Ooh,
I'm
okay,
fuming.
Iowa was ranked, so I'm not that
Calm
angry.
down.
I'm happy to be at 25. But Spencer, when you look at that list, is there anyone you see in the top 10, top 15 that you're like, yeah, they're unranked by week 5?
No one who I say is unranked. By the way, shouts out to everyone for ranking Iowa, because that's right.
Yes, we
They're going to win.
there.
They're going to win 8 games. You're going to hate all of them.
Oh,
But
we're
America,
getting to
you're going
10
to take
this
this
year.
medicine, because Kirk Ferentz is never dying. Never. He's going to live forever. If I look at anyone here who I go, man, they're going to fall out of the top 10. I don't, because everybody looks really solid, down to 10. If you had one program in the top 25 who I go, we might be a little speculative there in terms of entertaining them being real good. I never trust North Carolina, because North Carolina has no defense whatsoever. And anytime you put Ole Miss in the top 25, I'm going to go ahead and red flag it, just because that's Ole Miss. Good things don't happen to them 2 years in a row historically. Their success chart looks like an EKG. It's just up and down constantly.
Jess, I have a ACC Coastal size hole in my heart. Who replaces the ACC Coastal in just being absolutely bonkers, and it gets a special classification of no one actually wants to win this?
Oh, that is such a great question. I mean, honestly, honorary ACC Coastal was the Big Ten West for a while, but now their divisions are also gone. I think that's something to certainly keep an eye on, Mike. I also want to just answer Lucy's question to Spencer in my own shady way, which is not enough people are talking about the fact that Tulane beat USC at the end of the season last year in their bowl game and the Cotton Bowl. And USC retained their defensive coordinator, who did not do a great job last year. So when we're talking about teams with no defense like North Carolina, I think people are really, really high on South Carolina because of Caleb Williams, as they should be. But even Southern Cal, I should say, not South Carolina. Even I know, right? It's funny because I went to 2 schools that both hate the USC school, so it's very easy to remember that. But even with Caleb Williams last year, they did not win the Pac-12. This is the last year of the Pac-12. We will see who wins it for the final time. But I don't know how I feel about them being in the top 10 because they had some troubles last year.
Jess, 15 seconds. How is McDonald's in Ireland?
They have a curry dipping sauce for the fries and the nuggets, sweet curry. Oh my God. And they have snack wraps. They have snack wraps here. I miss the snack wrap so much. I give it a 10 out of 10. McDonald's, come to Ireland, go to McDonald's.
Curry from Ireland. That's a shocker. Jess, did you know that Greg Cody was also here?
Greg, I miss you.
Hi, Jess. How you doing? I'm looking at the clock as I'm saying.
This is a new and improved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.